Well. Good morning, West Ham fans. Happy Thursday, last day of the working week for most of us, as Good Friday. It will be a bank holiday. Yesterday we spoke about the academy, and Holly spoke about. Obviously, we've got the football kit Friday as well, so make sure you get involved with that. And spoke about Caduce and goalkeepers and things like that. We're now entering the last sort of 6 games of the season now, and I think there is, as we know, there's people who are not, what's the right way, not happy with the Potter appointment, and some were suggesting, they'd prefer a change in the summer rather than necessarily the continuation of Potter to fulfil his 2.5-year contract. However, for I think there is another group who are happy to give him time, and I'm in that group. I'm happy to give him time, and I wanted to ask the question today, and I just want a single number really in the chat, in the comments. How many games will you give him next season? The reason being is for Lopetegui, we was always assumed. I think it was 10 games, and I think he ended up being sacked after 20 odd games. Now, I think, in honesty, I think it was a slightly unusual season this year. I think it's in a very poor Premier League season this year. And the bottom 3 are, I think, statistically the worst bottom 3 we've ever had in the Premier League. And they were so far away that almost that decision in terms of Lopetegui being West Ham head coach could be protracted in terms of that decision of him leaving when he needed to go. There was a possibility, really, realistically, with not much. As it come January, it was pretty clear that those bottom 3, yes, we weren't statistically safe. We're still, I don't think we're statistically safe now. But with those bottom 3 so far drifted away that, he could have kept the reins going until the summer and then the change happened. But, a decision was made to make that change sooner rather than later and give the incumbent head coach time to plot what he wanted to do. Now, we've obviously got the Graham Potter press conference a little bit later on ahead of the Southampton game. No doubt he'll be asked about signings and things like that. We know that we have a guy in Carl McCauley who is apparently, according to Claret and Hugh, literally burning the midnight oil every day. We know we don't have a technical, a director of football anymore now. We know that David Sullivan's going to be working alongside Potter, aside McCauley as well, in terms of identifying, that's McCauley's job, but making deals happen and buying the right players. We'll see how that pans out over the summer. But obviously, where Lopetegui then had a pre-season, Potter hasn't had a pre-season. This is his pre-season. He's got an extended pre-season. Whether we like it or not, that's what's happening, and that's what will happen. But from the beginning of the 25-26 season, how many games would you give him? How many games are you going to give him before you make your mind up? Is that the right expression? I mean, as I said, I know it pisses people off sometimes, but being a half glass full person, I'm seeing some crumbs of some chinks of light, mainly second half performances, and I think someone it was GP or someone made a comment a while ago. We've always been a second half team, even under Moyes, and you're right. We was first half. It was almost like a boxer. First half was literally the first few rounds jabbing, and then they'd go on the offensive and try something a bit different. And the frustration thing is, if we did that from the front, we might get a knockout blow earlier rather than try and get it towards the end of the game. Football's about calculated risk, isn't it? And sometimes you have a risk averse sort of head coach. Sometimes you have someone who's a risky coach. Someone like Ange Postecoglou is a risky coach, and Potter, I think, is more risk adverse. And I think both haven't been particularly successful. In all honesty, if you look at the league positions and the position that Potter came in and the Potter came and we are now, sort of bottom of the best of the rest, so to speak. But we've still 6 games left. I think we've still got the ability to end the season well. We've still got to play Spurs at home. That's always a good. It's always a good game. Always a good game, and anything can happen. We've still got to play Man United. Again, I think when we were looking at these games at the beginning of the season, we're thinking, oh, these games aren't they're tough games. How the season's panned out, the form of the sides we're playing, I think Southampton's probably going to be our toughest game, really, in all honesty, because of the fact that they've got a new manager and they're relegated. They can sort of play with no fear. The likes of Spurs, Man United, these guys are still playing for, the manager's still playing for their jobs, really. So there'll be a number, and Man United could still be in the European final by the time we play them. So there's possibility there. But what I'm saying is, pre-season, we all go over to the States, yada, yada, yada. The first game in the 25-26 season, how many games are given in before you start banging the drum? Or not? Is it 10 games? Is it 6 games? Is it 6 games because in essence he's had a longer pre-season than Lopetegui? I'm fascinated to know what your metric is. Everyone's got something different. For me, I think it was on Gary's show. I think Chris was saying about, with the extended pre-season, so to speak, 6 games, you sort of get an idea of what's happening. Probably so. Again, it's dependent on who we get drawn against, isn't it? If we get some easier games, then it could be a false dawn. One swallow doesn't make a summer, or whatever the expression is. But you individually will have your own cut-off point. Is it till Christmas? Is it till the end of October? Is it till the first international break? Let me know what you think, because I think 10 games before I see the before I see what's it called? Before I see the fixture list come out in June sometime, then I can assess if we've got an easier run of games, but maybe not playing City, Liverpool, Arsenal. So those sides so quickly on in the season. Then I think maybe we are playing the likes of Burnley and some of the promoted sides, particularly at home. I would like to see, or maybe even I'll give him a points total after 10 games. After 10 games, if we're not at this point, then we'll delve further in. And I know it's been frustrating. This season has been considering we're going to finish probably about 16th, 17th this season, this season's probably one of the most event-ridden seasons I remember for many years. It's starting all the way. We've done it before. Starting all the way a few weeks ago, actually. Starting right back at the pre-season with that thunderstorm, which basically meant that Wolves game was delayed by about 5 hours or something like that. The Paqueta situation, the Bowen's broken foot. We've had managers come in, going. We've had directors of football going. We've had infighting. We've had bust-ups. We've had drubbings by some sides. We've had Kudusi's out for 5 games on a red card. We've had injuries at the wrong time. We've had players come and get injured and go back and then get injured again. It's been really, really, really event driven. I'm hoping next year it's more plain sailing, but it's West Ham, so it's not. Anyway, back later with the Potter press conference. Until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and I'll see you guys over here soon. Much love, bye-bye.